Thank you, Ms. Rice, and Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you again for being here. We'll continue this going into this year. Again, these are our chairman's chats where we try to update the public on some key things that are going on from our board actions, but also invite the press to answer or to ask any questions that they may have, any clarifications. This speaks to how we as a board want to operate in transparency, and we'll continue to provide as much information to the public as we can as we move through this. So let me give you a few quick updates. Paul, you might want to sit down. It'll be a couple seconds. Hopefully I can answer some of your questions. But as we start the year, we've got a lot going on as we move into January this year. The momentum that we saw last year and the foundation that we built is leading up to a lot of things happening over the next 30 to 60 days. So just a quick update on the Crown Complex with the modernization and rehabilitation. We've got an architect, a CMAR construction manager at risk. Those RFPs are out. We're looking forward to approving those in January and February, one in January with the architectural services and the owners. Rep will be approved in February as well, and then the CMAR construction manager at risk will be released in January, coming to the board for approval in March. We expect to see a pre-planning meeting and activity on that soon following that, hopefully March, early April. So that is moving forward on what we're doing out there. We'll also work with OVG, which is Oakview Group, which runs the Crown Complex. And they will help and be part of the process as a consultant as we look at opportunities on the Crown Complex in and around the theater as well as the arena. So we look at the Salvation Army. At the end of the year, in one of our final meetings, we took some action to partner with the Salvation Army. We're currently working on that agreement. It should come back to the board on January 15th. Hopefully we can get that in place. I've also sent a letter over to Mayor Colvin at the City of Fayetteville to request partnership and funding for that as well. We're moving forward with or without that, but there had been some preliminary conversations around our partnership on that, so I wanted to formalize that in a letter to Mayor Colvin, and I did that the end of last year. 911 Center, we're continuing to move forward on 911. We expect to have a joint meeting by the end of January. We're working that date. We're tentatively expecting it to be around January 29th. We're still coordinating with the city to finalize that date and get it published. Again, a couple things that are happening in the meantime. We have a behavioral alliance, the alliance is conducting some information around the mental health component to give us best practices for a 911 center around that we'll provide to the city in advance of our joint meeting. We also have a survey which was requested at our previous joint meeting that is out that will have the results from that, and we'll provide those to our board at the January work session or agenda session, but also to the City Council, Fayetteville City Council as well, so they'll have that in advance of our meeting. It's my intent that we'll come out of that meeting with an agreement between the two parties and then let the management teams work those agreements forward. And in my conversations with Mayor Colvin, I believe that is his intent as well. As we look at the Gillespie Street lot, which I call the Gillespie Street lot, again, as you saw in December, we made direction on on December 11th to direct the manager to look at how we could put some temporary green space and transition that current site as we continue to work opportunities with Fayetteville Cumberland Economic Development Corporation. There's some opportunities that his team, Robert Van Giens and his team, continues to work, and we hope to have an update on that in early February at our February agenda. We shall have an update on the green space in our January work session as well. As we look at unhoused, again, by February, if you recall, we approved the schematic design step. We should see a schematic design come back in the February agenda session along with any alternative site decisions. So one of the things that we talked about before is this board wanted to look at a couple alternative sites. We're in the process of doing that. and we'll make any final decisions on the schematic design as well as any alternative sites by February. The Aquatic Center, we're moving forward with the Aquatic Center. The next step in the Aquatic Center, we've held a stakeholder meeting to get information on programming, location, partners. What we're doing now is we're contracting with a consultant to do a feasibility study, and that's going to give us further details on programming, placement, funding models, because we want to ensure that this funding model has multiple funding streams, as you see in other type of projects like this in a public-private partnership potentially, but also look at the partners that are out there, not just here locally, but potentially across the state and nationally. Those RFP is going out. It's actually already been released. We expect it to come back to the agenda session in March of this year, agenda session for action by the board so we can start moving forward with that consultant. Also, in case you missed it, on the December 11th agenda session, we directed the county manager to develop work on a Crown Corridor Master Plan, and we say corridor, that's the entire Crown Corridor, not just the Crown Complex. But as we look at areas of commerce across our community, we think it's important that we plan around those communities. With the finalization of 295, with the pending I-685, with the activity that we're seeing with the city at the airport, with the additional investment that we're seeing at the Crown, we think it's important and prudent to master plan that area. This is something that looks out 10, 15, 20 years as we begin 5, 10, 15, 20 years out. We've directed the manager to do that. We expect to have some updates on that late January as well. Water and sewer plan, there'll be an update to the board on the activities around water and sewer infrastructure on the January agenda session. Just to give the latest and what's happening in each one of the districts. If you recall, we stood up in December, we stood up 2 additional districts, water and sewer districts. And so we want to give the board an update on the latest actions around those items. We're additionally, I'm looking at an infrastructure summit, which I'll announce later this week, in collaboration with the Fayetteville-Cumberland Economic Development Corporation. It's something that they did back in 2017-18. It's long past overdue that we review it. This will bring all the partners to the table across our county to talk about infrastructure, where we are, where we're going, and what the opportunities are. So more to follow on that later this week. Courthouse. So parking, we know there's still, if you're still trying to park at the courthouse, our communications department has done a great job of updating on our website so you can see the parking locations. Our management team is looking at additional lots, expansion to additional lots to provide additional capacity. We know in the month of January there's some additional capacity needs, but overall there still are additional capacity needs. And we're also looking at the enforcement side of it as well to ensure that people aren't parking in fire lanes so we don't have public safety hazard, which we routinely have. We're also looking forward to an update from the school board. As you know, the school board has received their consultant report for repurposing, redistricting. We're looking forward to their decisions on that in a joint meeting that will come hopefully in the month of February. We've got a new board chairman at the school board, and so I look forward to working with Chairwoman Musgrave to set that joint meeting, much like we did last year. That was very productive, and so I look forward to that meeting to look at their decision and how we can help fund their decision as our role as county commissioners. Lastly, you heard that we received an update on the Comores lawsuit. Just a quick update on that. I figured I would get a question about that. So no real major updates that we can share outside of we are still waiting to set a trial date. As you recall, we had a trial date set for September. That was delayed by the judge, and so we're waiting for a new trial date. So those are my updates, and I will open it up for questions.
It's been a while. I looked at the filings, and I think y'all had once I there. I think I put in a filing to try to get the ruling. I think in your favor. Is the judge decided on that?
Judge hasn't decided on anything. There's been no rulings.
All right, y'all just voted on an insurance settlement. Tell me, for $107,730, what is that about?
So it's personnel in nature. The documentation that will be public will go to the Insurance Commission, so you can get further details on that, and I can have our comms department provide you what information we can, but there's some personnel information in that, so I want to be sensitive to that.
So you spoke about an economic development opportunity in closed session today. Tell me more about that.
We're always talking about economic opportunities, Paul. So routinely, Robert Van Giens has to bring us opportunities to look for direction, look for guidance. If there was any requirement for a public vote, we would bring that forward and announce that to the public. There was no decisions made. It was an information update on a project and looking for direction and where the board wanted to go.
Are we having a technical issue? Okay. Did it have anything to do with the Gillespie Street lot?
We did not talk about the Gillespie Street lot today. But when we do, you can guarantee that I will come talk to you about the Gillespie Street lot, because there's some great opportunities coming down the pipe on that.
Well, I know that, I think some people in this building would like it returned to the parking. Is that totally not an option?
I'm hopeful that long-term, whatever opportunity goes there, there's combined with parking, but we'll see. There'll be a parking aspect to it, but we'll see what the opportunity comes to light and what's brought in front of the board. But I agree. We should have never torn up the parking lot without a proper parking plan for this courthouse as well as the public. But yes, so I do agree with you. We do need additional parking, which our county manager and management team is working to ensure that we've got some additional parking here. But again, the lot should never have been torn up without a proper parking plan.
Well, I thought they had one.
There was no parking plan.
They improved the parking deck.
Was the parking deck built?
Well, you canceled it.
No, the parking deck was not built before they tore up the lot. Therefore, there was no parking. There was not adequate parking for the courthouse, as well as the public who uses the courthouse, as well as our employees that use the courthouse.
You got me right down lots of notes. There we go. 911 center. You mentioned the mental health aspect, and I remember at the joint meeting, I think there was some question about whether the mental health responders would serve both the city and the greater Cumberland County area, or just the city. Where are y'all tracking that for that?
Again, I think we're looking for the best practices from the Alliance, and they're going to bring those back. And so I think that will outline, when you look at policies and procedures, that needs to happen by the subject matter experts that are in there. It's our intent, when you have a joint facility, that those services go across the city, go across the county, go across municipalities. We know when people call 911, they just need help. They don't care about a boundary. They don't care about a town. They just want help. And whether it's a mental crisis or some other type of activity where they need emergency services, they just need help when they call for it.
And where do you think you guys are tracking now in terms of the governance of the joint 911? That was the point of disagreement at the joint meeting with the city and the county last year.
You know, I'm interested in what the board's, I think you see agreeance with our board that we're very supportive of a joint governance model that puts, without electeds, that puts the city and the county working together in a joint governance model. Remember, the day-to-day operations, that advisory board, those policies and procedures happen at that level. The governance board really deals with resources, how are we going to fund X in a building, those types of things. So I look forward to the conversations with the city. I'm optimistic about as we clarify. I don't think that maybe we hadn't given everybody all the information in advance of that joint meeting on both sides that we probably could have in advance of it, even though we thought we did. So I look forward to having those continued conversations as we provide additional information around what a joint 911 center could be. I don't think there's any disagreement on that we need to have a consolidated center. It's just how we do it. And I think once we all get back in a room and some people's questions are answered, we'll move in the right direction.
Do you anticipate now that there's several new members on the city council that they might be more council as a whole might be in agreement with the county's preference?
So I can't speak to the city council. I can speak to my board, and my board is in full agreement on the direction that we move forward. I think you saw that when we took our vote at the joint meeting. I can't speak to the new council. I look forward to working with each of them. They got some new talented individuals on their team, some that are returning, some with very unique life experiences. And so I look forward to working with them and ensuring that we bring this across the finish line, because our community deserves this. More importantly, individuals deserve this when they pick up the phone and call 911. And it also addresses a huge issue in our community around mental health and what do you do when somebody's in crisis.
And to clarify that, with this mental health program, if someone calls with a mental health situation, the mental health team would respond instead of police officers?
So again, we're going to look at best practices. I don't want to get into the tactical side of this or the how we're going to do it. We're going to present some best case scenarios, some best practices from the Alliance on the way that can be done, how it can be phased in. Initially, maybe potentially you've got, certified mental health providers in the call center, which is what we're working towards now. And then you phase in those response teams that you talked about. There's a lot of different models across the nation. There's a lot of models across North Carolina. What we've asked for from our Alliance team, which is our mental health provider, is to give us those best practices. They do this in 2 other locations in our state now, and so we're looking for that feedback from them, and then we'll decide what that looks like. Of course, working with the subject matter experts to make sure that it meets the needs of the individuals in crisis.
If going forward, as the talks with the city progress, if it comes back that the council still wants the city to be in charge, so to speak, instead of the joint operation with the county, or joint leadership that the county prefers, would that kill the deal?
I want to be clear. We've been extremely flexible and made several compromises since this was last discussed. You recall it's been discussed 4 different times. I think our board, and specifically I, am very focused on ensuring that the community gets the best service that they can. So where we need to find compromise, we'll find compromise, and we'll work with the city and the city leadership to do that. We have some recommendations, we have some positions, but I think what we're focused on is ensuring that we have a joint 911 center that takes care of the people of this community.
Do you have, you kind of, I guess, touched on it in your initial speech. I was wondering what's your big goals, what specifically do you want to get accomplished or done in 2026?
Yeah, so I spoke to that last year, but just to reiterate, we built a lot of foundational work last year, and I think this year is really focused on the momentum. I think when you look at our water and sewer, it's paramount to what we do and how we're going to grow as a community. Making sure that we're investing in our schools, in our education, and in our children, and in the educators that provide that resource to our children is paramount. And so working with the school board as they move forward in this, ensuring that we're providing those resources. Public safety, not only the public safety with the sheriff's component, but also the mental health aspect of that from a health and human service side, I think is extremely important. As you recall, we set aside $30 million for a mental health diversion facility. You're going to begin to hear conversations around that. So the foundation that we build in 2025, you're going to start seeing that movement and that momentum move forward. We'll also continue to look at how we interact with our veterans, our seniors, Parks and Recreation, quality of life. We talk about the Aquatic Center. We're also in discussions around how we enhance our parks and recreations across the community in a more collaborative way. So I think you're going to see a lot of those things. Nothing different. I think our strategic plan was very focused. First time we done one in 4 years last year. So I think you're going to see us stick to that strategic plan and stay very focused. I think you're also around our unhoused population. You're going to see direct movement, and it's about capacity for that and making sure that we have beds not only on a white flag night like we had last night, but also for that emergency shelter when somebody just needs a place to stay that is dignified, that is respectful, and that is secure, especially for women and their families, as well as the men in our community. So you're going to see direct movement on that as well, and I'd lump that in that Health and Human Services role as well. So I think you'll see us continue to build on our strategic plan, but now you're going to see the fruits of the foundation. We had to really handle a large budget last year and move through a reevaluation where we still lowered taxes, even though some people are frustrated that their taxes went up, but that's because of the reevaluation and their property actually increased in value. So we're going to continue to make sure that we're providing those services. We're going to go back into a budget season again and ensure that we're keep that tax rate as low as possible while providing those services to our community. Anybody else? Are we taking press or?
Typically just press, but we can stay and talk if you have time.
I'm glad to stay and talk. It's typically for press.
Okay, but
We'll do a public hearing where we're glad to take comments. We're going to look to do, just as a point of clarity, we're going to look to do some town halls over the next year where we're engaging in the community like we did last year around the budget. But we're going to take some opportunity to do some quarterly town halls to engage different parts of the community so that when we're talking to the public has questions just like this, it's important that we're transparent, that we are responsive, and that we're accountable for our actions. So stay tuned for more information on that, and that'll be our opportunity to engage with the public. This is really, again, I just want to appreciate and say thank you to the press that showed up, continues to show up. I think it's important the work that you help us do. You help us educate the community on the facts, and we know there's a lot of mistruths out there and misinformation that is flying around social media, and we appreciate the opportunity to come clarify any facts and answer any questions that you may have to do that. So thank you.
thank you. Thank you, guys. This will be on YouTube. Have a good day.